Tonight, wild weather lashes across the state as EP locals cop an eyeful of the extreme elements. And Rex warns against the cost of upgrading security measures at regional airports.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening. Port Lincoln experienced a wild and wet weekend with wind gusts of up to 90 kilometres an hour and the most rain recorded for the year so far. Many battened down the hatches while others braved the extreme conditions for a glimpse of the elements.
Winter hit Port Lincoln with a vengeance over the weekend. A strong storm front descended on the region, monster waves pounding the coast, some braving the elements for a selfie. Surfers defied the conditions, looking for the ultimate ride, the swell proving extreme but not impossible to conquer. Others looked to avoid the weather, this pod of whales seeking refuge within the bay. The town didn't escape, the wind hampered many, one person losing their caravan, the gale ripping it apart, forcing it off the road. The jetty didn't fare much better, the squall hitting the town hard, this rider trapped outside as the storm touched down. Sports were caught off guard, some battled on, while others ran for cover. The Lincoln hockey courts hit hardest, the players barely visible, the game abandoned, officials scrambling for cover. The streets were affected too, the elements causing minor flooding, Lincoln Place submerged in water, cars ploughing through to the other side. It was the biggest challenge for Liverpool Street, known to soak nearby businesses, but due to stormwater upgrades, remained relatively dry. While the rain caused nuisance for some, it was a welcome relief for farmers, crops receiving the biggest drink this year, giving their season a massive boost.
It was brilliant to get rain, set it up for some potential.
It was the wettest weekend Port Lincoln experienced in 2 years, the town recording 23 millimetres of rain, Coffin Bay receiving 26, while Cummins had 29. The SES remained on alert throughout, issuing weather messages to the public as wild weather crossed the region, and although it dampened a few spirits and crops, did not result in any serious incidents or injury. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Hydrogeologists from Flinders University say the $500 million pipeline from the Murray River to Broken Hill is not needed. They say there's an abundant groundwater supply available north of the city in the Darling River floodplain, which can be pumped using existing infrastructure. But a local water activist remains sceptical.
A water supply for Broken Hill that is almost insulting.
We've been fighting against it for a long time. They've already spent $60 or $70 million on investigating this bore water, and we just don't want it.
Flinders University research says the $500 million Murray River pipeline is not needed to secure a water supply for the people of Broken Hill. Hydrogeologists are convinced there is a large groundwater resource in the Darling River floodplain near Menindee. The site was the subject of a recent aquifer recharge study, and scientists think the groundwater could be pumped to Broken Hill using existing pipelines. But Mr Kennedy was quick to shoot down the idea.
This has been an argument for a long time, and Broken Hill was opposed to the groundwater supplies well before the pipeline. The pipeline was introduced as a more palatable thing for Broken Hill than what the aquifer would be. The aquifer would be very expensive.
Mr Kennedy says Broken Hill will not put up with being on bore water, and that flows down the Darling is still the best option there is.
We can't have South Australia getting water going down the Darling River, past Broken Hill, past Menindee, into the Murray River, so they get fresh river water while we're relying on bore water. It's just unacceptable. It's expensive, and it's almost insulting that Flinders University would even suggest it.
Flinders University was contacted for comment. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
A body has been found on a property east of Broken Hill over the weekend, with a report now prepared for the coroner. The property's owners found the body of a man near his vehicle at about 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. After completing crime scene examinations, the man was taken to Broken Hill Hospital, where he was officially pronounced dead. The death is not being treated as suspicious. As a part of Kadeena's $10 million CBD upgrade, Council has received funding to install CCTV cameras in the main street. It's in the hopes the security cameras will reduce crime in the area and help catch any offenders.
Kadeena has been granted over $75,000 to install CCTV cameras around the heart of the city.
Blanket the whole CBD, so it's really going to give us coverage of the whole area, about 106 businesses in the main street.
30 CCTV cameras will be installed and have real-time access to the South Australian Police to help tackle crime.
It provides an opportunity for recorded material to be used subsequently in the event of there being some sort of problem in the area, but also the possibility of real-time surveillance.
And as a part of the CBD upgrade, new multifunctional poles are being installed in the main street, which will hold the new cameras. Wi-Fi is also now available for business owners to connect their own security cameras with council's CCTV, giving police real-time access to the shop as well.
People that don't follow the rules and they can cause, major hassles for our small businesses. So to protect our small businesses, to give them that security is really important.
Kadina is one of 6 councils sharing the Crime Prevention and Community Safety Grant worth over $300,000. And council says the installation of CCTV cameras in the CBD will help people feel safe in the neighbourhood. In Kadina, Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla woman has been reported for drink driving after failing a breath test in Whyalla last night. Police stopped a Holden sedan on Norrie Avenue at around 7 o'clock and conducted a breath test on the driver. She allegedly recorded a reading of .115, over twice the legal limit. The 49-year-old had her car impounded and was issued with an immediate 6-month loss of licence. She'll face the Whyalla Magistrates Court at a later date. Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, Rex warns against the cost of upgrading security measures at regional airports, why they say we shouldn't give in to the hysteria. The details ahead. Welcome back. Regional Express says we should not give in to hysteria as the federal government looks to tighten security measures at regional airports. The airline says small flight operators would find it hard to cover the cost if expensive security screenings were introduced in regional centres. Our reporter Patrick Reinke has more details.
Regional Express says introducing security screenings to regional airports would leave many rural towns without an airline service. They say Australia's response to terrorist threats must be balanced and measured. A major concern is the cost to operate additional security measures across the country. Rex currently operates to 45 regional communities where screening is not required. In a statement to Southern Cross News, the airline said the annual operating costs associated with screening is about $250,000 at each location. That means passengers would have to foot the additional $34 million in operational costs. Rex says they only saw a $4 million operational profit in the last financial year, so their fate would be sealed if they introduced more screenings. There are worries that those needing to travel for essential medical, educational and business reasons would be forced to drive, increasing in the number of road users and potentially increasing the risk of road fatalities. Rex say it would be senseless to enforce screening at regional airports, but leave the tens of thousands of buses on the nation's streets still vulnerable. Regional Express says giving in to hysteria is what terrorists will be looking for. They will succeed in their objective in disrupting daily life without even carrying out an attack. Rex says they are complying with all of the instructions from the Office of Transport Security and will continue to do so if the regulations change.
Patrick Reinke reporting there. A drug driver who crashed into a playground in Port Pirie is set to face court again later this week. The event prompting local police to run an operation over the weekend catching drink and drug drivers, with 8 people caught behind the wheel with drugs in their system.
The Woodward Park Playground on Halliday Street is open to the public after a driver allegedly high on methamphetamine crashed through the fence, just missing a young boy.
They attempted to stop that vehicle. The vehicle then took off at speed and lost control shortly after at a roundabout, crashing through a fence into a playground where he narrowly missed a young child.
And witnesses are not impressed with the damage caused to the playground.
He doesn't deserve to hold a licence anyway, as far as I'm concerned, not looking at what he's done, where he's been and what he caused.
The 23-year-old Port Pirie man was arrested and then charged with serious offences, including driving to evade police and acts to endanger life.
He was arrested and charged with those offences, and he was remanded in custody, and he will appear in the Port Pirie Magistrates Court later on this week.
And following on from the near miss, over the weekend local police participated in Operation Stop Drink Drug Driving. catching 5 drunk drivers with readings ranging from 0.83 to 0.223.
Also, there were 8 detections for illicit substances, 7 of those related to methamphetamine use.
Local police say this is a timely reminder that they can stop and test any vehicle at any time for the purpose of drug and alcohol testing. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Port Augusta has been named as one of the South Australian suburbs to have the largest increase in median house prices over the past year. According to figures from the Real Estate Institute of South Australia, Port Augusta saw a price jump of 21.62%. The median house price in Port Augusta now standing at $225,000 for the second quarter of 2017, compared to $185,000 last year. While the house has recorded a 22% decrease since this time last year, selling for a median of $200,000, while Port Pirie saw a price increase of nearly 2%, with homes selling for a median price of $190,000. While locals with an eye for fashion and recycling gathered on Saturday for a night filled with clothing straight out of the bin. The annual Junk to Funk raised over $12,000 for the Whyalla Special School as locals paraded their homemade designs.
It's not often you can describe someone's outfit as full of rubbish and get away with it. But Saturday night was the night to do it in Whyalla.
Oh, it's very comfortable. I really enjoyed it.
So it's just made out of green shopping bags, pink bubble wrap and a cage.
Junk to Funk returned, raising money for the students of the Whyalla Special School. Each catwalk creation was made from recyclable or waste material, ranging from rugs to 3D glasses. Designers and models used the stage to exhibit their skills and their creative flair.
We always think that we've seen the best, but the creators just outdo themselves.
The $12,000 raised will help fund the purchase of professional cameras, so the school can run photography classes for its senior students.
The teachers and the students can branch into some photography for some leisure activities or maybe a career path for the students.
Dana Trom took out the People's Choice Award for the most popular piece of clothing. She both designed and modelled the dress and says while it was challenging, it was a great opportunity.
Well, you do have support, but then, you know, when you've got a designer and a model, you've got 2 people to work together. But yeah, no, I still enjoy it though.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. When we return after the break, footy action from right across the region. We'll check in with the winners and losers. The details ahead. Welcome back. A Port Augusta park ranger has received an award for her mentoring and fundraising skills. Christine Arnold was one of 2 people in the state to receive the South Australian Ranger Association in the Ranger Spirit Honour.
As one of 93 rangers in South Australia, Christine Arnold is one of 2 people to receive an award for her work. Recognising those who work in the ranger spirit, it's an award she says she's humbled to receive.
Well, that actually came as complete surprise because one part of the award was for mentoring people for aerial survey, because one of my jobs is to help train new people to be able to aerially survey kangaroos.
A cartographer by trade, Christine says she fell into the job.
I thought, oh great, counting fauna, camping out, being part of, you know, doing things outdoors for the environment was quite attractive.
Demonstrating the ranger spirit, Christine had raised $5,000 for the Thin Green Line Foundation, supporting families of overseas rangers who have died on the job.
Just an idea that popped into my head, and I thought, well, let's just get someone's hair dyed green and let's just try and see if we can raise some money through the office and that to do that.
Based in Port Augusta, she organises kangaroo population control and conducts aerial counts while teaching others to do the same.
I think I'm just lucky that I can talk, as in help train, while I'm actually counting. So I guess that's one thing. So I just see it as part of my job.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla's Hockey Association has scored a significant goal, securing a state government grant to improve its change rooms and toilets. The new building will ensure players not only have a space to change in, but will support the functions the clubs host as well.
Whyalla's hockey fields are major tournament standard, but their changing facilities are another story.
We've got a transportable building and the facilities are functional but really, really basic. Climate controlled is as in whatever the weather is, that is the weather inside.
This portable has been a permanent fixture for 15 years. The lack of space means female players have to change outside in open space. This will come to an end soon, with the association securing a $360,000 grant to build state-of-the-art changing rooms.
All the facilities that go with it, along with it, like a parenting room as well. So there's going to be like showers, toilets, the works.
The state government is spending $7 million across the state to cater for the rise in the number of girls playing sport. Member for Giles Eddie Hughes says women and girls deserve the same level of support and amenities as the guys.
A lot of the facilities for our female players are just incredibly substandard in a lot of places. It's an old donga that's been recycled from somewhere else.
As well as the sporting aspect, Ms Corbett says the new building will improve its attraction as a function venue.
We have a lot of weddings and specialised events. It'll attract more hockey-related events, other sporting events.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
To the weekend's footy now, and there was plenty of entertaining action this round. Jason Kim joins us now with all the results from Port Lincoln. Jason, as we saw in your report earlier, it was a pretty wild weekend there in Port Lincoln.
Yeah, that's right, Tim. Although it's dry here now, it was a very different story on the weekend. Games were hampered by wind and rain, making conditions very tough on the players. Waybacks and Lincoln South played through the elements, Waybacks making the most of their opportunities. The low-scoring game saw just a few goals kicked for the entire match. Lincoln South making the most of the dry conditions early, kicking 3 goals in the first quarter. As the rain set in, so did Waybacks, controlling the footy for much of the second half. Remarkably, there was only 2 goals kicked after half-time, Waybacks doing enough to run out 14-point winners. In the other games, Mallee Park took on bottom place Boston, and although conditions were wet, it didn't stop them from kicking a big score, Mallee Park winning by 16 goals. Meanwhile, Tasman's had a dirty day, failing to kick a goal at Wangaree Oval, Marble Range taking the points at home. Still on the EP, and United beat Cummins easily. Tumby had a day out against Locke, and Ayr United beat the Ramblers comfortably. Heading over to the Spencer Golf League, West proved too good for Centrals, while Solly's easily accounted for the Lions at home. Meanwhile, South had a big day out against Port, winning by 11 goals. Over to Whyalla, Centrals beat the Roos by 56 points. The Bays were no match for North, and West had one of their strongest performances of the year, defeating South by 15 goals. Turning to the Silver City, South made the most of the wind, giving the Magpies no chance of a comeback, while North got the job done over battling West. Over to the York Peninsula, Ardrossan edged out the Eagles in the tightest game of the round. Kadina got home by a kick against Moonta, and Wallaroo were too strong for Baskerville. In the northern areas, there were also wins for Crystalbrook, Southern Flinders and Orroroo. So there you have it, Tim, another big weekend of football for our local leagues. Tomorrow night we'll be back to bring you the latest results for netball and soccer.
All right, look forward to it. Thank you, Jace. We'll see you then. Well, stay with us after the break. A check of your local weather for the week ahead. Welcome back to the weather now, and quite a grey and overcast day today. Cloud about again and 18 for Port Augusta, 17 the top in Whyalla, Port Pirie 16 today, 14 in Port Lincoln, Broken Hill today on 15 degrees. On the national satellite image, a high pushing across the state's north is leaving us fairly clear for the next few days. Out on the waters, the winds to 10 knots in westerly, seas to 1.5 metres into the south. Sunrise at 7 minutes past 7 tomorrow morning. So it should start to fine up into tomorrow, 19 the top for Port Augusta and 18 for Whyalla, Port Lincoln also on 18 with 17 for Port Pirie, Broken Hill sunny and 15. And then looking ahead, a fine 21 for Wednesday in Port Lincoln and in Cleve, then showers and 20 on Thursday, Woodner 23, then 19 and also seeing showers return. Whyalla a fine 22 on Wednesday, then 24 and still fine on Thursday. Port Augusta also looking quite warm, 22 then 25 this week before it drops back on Friday. Kadina a fine at 19 degrees for Wednesday. Port Pirie fine and 20 on Wednesday, then 22 for Thursday. Clare a bit cooler, 17 then showers and 19. Broken Hill a fine 18 degrees for Wednesday ahead of a windy 23 degrees. And that is the local news for this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Don't forget, as always, you can stay up to date with us on Facebook and on Twitter, and you can get in touch with us via email as well. We'll see you back here tomorrow night from 6:30. I'm Tim Hatfield from the Southern Cross News team. Enjoy your evening. Good night.